Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing tonight? This 13th Friday, of course, the month is September 2024. I trust that you had a fantastic week and you had a fantastic day. Well, I'm going to try to make it just a little bit better tonight as we wrap up the week. We have a great show, of course, lined up for you. Willis Ocheng, Willis the word master, the English guy, is going to be joining us live and direct from Kisii County. We'll also be having Duncan Mokaya, and we'll be having a very interesting discussion about an experience called Walkertown, so look out for that. And as you can see on your screens, this is the what to expect tomorrow from the Star newspaper. There you go, that's the big headline tomorrow. Gachagua rebels risking political suicide, says allies. You better be able to get your copy tomorrow. That's the Star newspaper. Well, I trust that you're great. Let's begin our show with the highlights. Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli sentenced to 6 months in prison for contempt of court despite last-minute attempts to save himself.
Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Mr. Masengeli is ordered to submit himself to the Commissioner General of Kenya Prisons to ensure that he is to be committed to a prison facility to commence serving sentence of the imprisonment imposed.
Justice Lawrence Mugambi handed down the ruling after the acting police chief failed to appear in court for 7 consecutive summonses. 6 school children killed in a hit-and-run incident when a speeding vehicle struck them on the Mutomo-Kibwezi Road.
The accused person, who is the driver, who is supposed to be charged for the offense of causing death by dangerous driving.
Transport Cabinet Secretary Davis Churchill reiterates that no agreements have been finalized regarding the proposed Adani Group lease of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
No legal binding agreement has been finalized. It is just a draft document.
All right, let's begin our coverage tonight, and we begin on a very sad note. 6 students lost their lives in a hit-and-run accident at Witu Shopping Center along the Kitui-Kibwezi Road. Now, the victims included 3 primary school pupils and 3 secondary school students. Now, according to police reports, the car involved was speeding at the time of the accident. Authorities are investigating the incident after the driver responsible for the fatal crash was arrested.
At approximately 6:20 in the morning, 3 high school girls, 2 in Form 3 and 1 in Form 1, were on their way to Kyoani Mixed Day Secondary School when they tragically lost their lives on this road. 3 other victims, primary school pupils, included a grade 3 boy, a grade 6 girl and a grade 3 girl, all from Kyoani Primary, a local public day school. Witnesses reported that local residents, the first to arrive at the scene, identified the children, with 3 of them said to belong to the same family.
All the children feared dead on the spot. The vehicle fled.
According to police from Mutomo Traffic Police, the 6 students were walking to school when a Toyota Probox vehicle traveling from Kibwezi veered off the road and struck them, killing all 6 on the spot.
Upon reaching at the location of the accident, he left his proper traffic lane and veered off to the pedestrian walk, whereby he hit 6 juveniles.
It is said the driver fled the scene but later surrendered to authorities at Mutomo Police Station. Police have since arrested him and the vehicle has been impounded as investigations continue.
Mwanzo ni washukuru maafisa wa polisi ambao wamehusika katika ku-apprehend gari na kushika driver ili aweze kusema ukweli wa mambo yaliyofanyika.
Eric Mnene, TV 47.
Now, senators have called on CS for Roads and Transport Davis Churchill to cancel the Adani JKIA lease deal and have the tendering process commenced afresh. Now, of concern to the senators is the claims of the Adani group being involved in fraudulent activities. And meanwhile, the CS has refuted claims of any deal signed yet between Adani and the Kenyan government. And Sheila Chelangat has the details to this.
After failing to present the required documents on the JKIA Adani lease deal yesterday, CS Davis Churchill once again was before the Roads and Transport Senate Committee today, tasked with shedding light on whether an agreement has been reached between Adani and JKIA.
It's important to emphasize that no legal binding agreement has been finalized. It is just a draft document.
As CS Churchill maintains that the deal is neither signed nor legally binding, aviation workers have been concerned over the opaqueness of the deal and the potential job losses, with senators today seeking to understand the mode of operation of the company in the event of their takeover.
We are willing to put an investment which is worth 1.1 trillion shillings to risk for 230 billion Kenya shillings.
We are only giving them a hived piece of land to build the airport, and even the 30 acres of land for the city side development is purely outside the concession agreement.
The committee also putting CS Churchill to task over the tendering process.
They are taking up the entire JKIA, from management of the, what did you call, the aeronauticals, to parking, to everything, including the employees. Why are you creating this impression that you are hiving a small corner for them somewhere to do operations and that KA will continue with management of JKIA?
Of concern to the senators is why the government settled for the Indian conglomerate for the leasing deal and why there are ongoing negotiations between the government and the company despite claims of the group engaging in fraudulent activities.
But I can assure you, CS, it doesn't matter how you explain this deal, the people's mind is made up on Adani. Please, abandon this deal. We will lose nothing.
We're a country, we're an industrious nation. I suppose we can definitely raise $99 million to be able to put up a runway.
If they say, in conclusion, Chair, if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck and quacks like a duck, it could be a real ugly swan of corruption. Let the Adani be called off. This deal call off today. Let's begin from a fresh lead.
Sheila Chelangat for TV 47.
A family in Nyamathi, Kinungi, Naivasha is grieving the loss of 3 children aged between 2 and 6 years who tragically perished in a night fire that destroyed their home. Now, the fire suspected to have been caused by a love triangle gone wrong engulfed the house while the family was inside. The mother, who survived but is in critical condition, is currently fighting for her life at Naivasha Hospital. Authorities are investigating the cause of the fire, and Willie Dennis Njiru has the details.
Debris and remnants of furniture still stand as a grim reminder of the locals of what was once a neighbor's home. This as anger simmers among the community as they allege that the tragedy was part of a premeditated act.
Nikiwa huko nyumbani nisikia duru, wakati nilipika hapa nikuta ni moto mingi na watu ni wengi.
Kisa cha moto kwa sababu hakuna stima, mtu anasema ya kwamba stima iliwasha, wanasema ya kwamba kuku ajiko, huyu ni mtu anatakana kurandiwa.
The 10 p.m. incident claimed the lives of 3 siblings aged 2, 4 and 6 who were trapped inside and succumbed, while their mother remains in critical condition at Naivasha Hospital.
Yeye akajaribu kushika mtoto kijana atoke nje, sasa hakuweza kujaribu kufungua mlango ikakataa.
Even as police work to establish the fact around the incident, neighbors say the mother of the 3 children is said to have remarried and settled here after a previous relationship, which she bore the children.
You cannot ban children. You cannot. Hata kama umekosewa namna gani, huwezi choma malaika wa Mungu. Mtu ambaye hata ana makosa, hajui what is happening, alafu wewe na akili zako bovu unakuja unachomelea. I think the government should act and act very fast.
The bodies have been moved to the Naivasha hospital morgue as police begin their investigations. Meanwhile, the locals who are calling for the swift arrest of those responsible for the heinous crime have also gathered to support the rebuilding of the devastated home. Reporting for TV 47 from Kinungi in Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiro.
Quite sad. Now, the High Court early Friday sentenced Acting Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli to 6 months in prison after being found guilty of contempt of court. Justice Lawrence Mugambi ordered that Masengeli submits himself to Commissioner General of Prisons to begin his sentence. Samira Mohammed with the details.
Good morning.
Acting Police Inspector General Gilbert Masengeli could begin his career as a police boss on a rough patch after being found guilty of contempt of court, with the High Court Judge Lawrence Mugambi sentencing him to 6 months imprisonment for the offence. This is after Masengeli snapped court summons for 7 consecutive times.
Contempt, Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is sentenced to 6 months imprisonment.
Justice Mugambi directing that Masengeli avails himself to the Commissioner General of Prisons to ensure that he is committed to the prison facility to begin serving his sentence. And in the event of failure to submit himself to the Commissioner General of Prisons, the court directed the Cabinet Secretary for Interior Kithure Kindiki to enforce order.
Mr. Masengeli is ordered to submit himself to the Commissioner General of Kenya Prisons to ensure that he is to be committed to a prison facility to commence serving sentence of the imprisonment imposed. In the event that he does not submit himself to the Commissioner General of Prison Service as ordered, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Interior must take all steps that are necessary and permissible in law to ensure Mr. Gilbert Masengeli is committed to prison to commence serving the sentence imposed on him.
The court, however, suspended sentence for 7 days to allow Masengeli to redeem himself by complying with the court order.
In that regard, Mr. Masengeli may avoid serving this sentence, and therefore, in that regard, the court shall suspend this sentence for 7 days only. The Acting Inspector General of Police can redeem himself and comply by availing himself before this court in person to answer to the issues he has been avoiding. In default, the sentence shall automatically become effective.
Masengeli had been summoned by the court to explain the whereabouts of Jamil Langton, his brother Aslam Langton, and activist Bob Njagi, who were allegedly abducted by individuals believed to be police officers on August 19th during the Gen Z-led anti-government protests. On the day of judgment, the High Court rejected his application to suspend his sentencing after he was found guilty of contempt of court.
Alleging the abduction or arrest of the second to the fourth petitioners on the 19th of August 2024 by persons who had introduced themselves as police officers. They were then kept incommunicado in undisclosed locations after the incident. This court entered a finding of guilty on the 9th of September 2024 after all efforts afforded to the contemptor to purge the contempt were ignored.
In a last-minute attempt to save himself, Masengeli, through his advocate, had sought the suspension, arguing that his focus was on critical national security matters that required his immediate attention, which had justified his absence from the court.
Have the decision finding the first respondent in contempt of court to be reconsidered, my lord.
Despite expressing regret over his actions and affirming respect for the court maintained its decision, adding that Masengeli's failure to comply with the court order could not be excused.
The contemptor, in this case, was accorded every opportunity to purge the contempt to the extent that attending a workshop in Mombasa was more important than obeying a court summons intended to seek an explanation on the whereabouts of the second to that petitioner.
Samira Mohammed for TV 47.
Now, childhood cancer is still a serious challenge, posing a serious health risk to children, especially those between 2 to 7 years with late diagnosis. Meanwhile, high treatment costs and misdiagnosis have been cited as key challenges towards eradicating childhood cancer. Elizabeth Atino now reports.
At the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, we visit the newly launched pediatric oncology ward with a 300-bed capacity. Here, we meet this group of little angels filled with joy, hope and determination. These children are among the 3,000 children in Kenya diagnosed with cancer every year.
Na kapatikana kwa na cancer
kuna zile mshipa zilikuwa zimefungana kwa shingo.
Sadly, only 20% of children with cancer in Kenya survive compared to the 80% who survive in developed countries. 16-year-old Lauren is one of the survivors.
It's been a tough and hard journey, but I can now proudly say that I'm cancer-free.
The high cost of medicine, lack of proper community awareness, late diagnosis, as well as the lack of specialized training have been cited as key impediments to curbing cases of childhood cancer.
The reasons for lower survival rates in low-middle income countries include late diagnosis, late referrals, delays caused by financial access to health care.
Over 75% of the causes of the cases are often misdiagnosed as infectious disease.
NHIF ilisimamia, kuna part ilikuwa inabidi mtu utoe pesa kwa mfuko.
Sometimes the doctors prescribe maybe 30 chemos, but the NHIF pays maybe half of that. And we see these children or Kenyans going back home not fully treated.
The most prevalent types of cancer among children is leukemia, brain and spinal cord tumors, neuroblastoma, among others. Research is said to be the solution to reducing the survival gap, which is in tandem with this year's theme.
Esophageal cancer research that we are doing with the University of Manchester is a proposal we wrote with them, DG, to find out the causes of esophageal cancer and the communities being affected and what the government can do about it.
Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Cape Media Limited, in partnership with Cooperative Bank, are on a campus wave that kicked off today at Eldoret National Polytechnic, aiming to educate youth from the age of 18 to 35 on the need to create a financially wise future for themselves by opening an account on the JKIA app in order to access a variety of banking, money transfer and payment services. Take a look.
Pia unahitaji kujifunza sana matumizi ya pesa.
Cape Media Limited, in partnership with Cooperative Bank, arrived in style at the Eldoret National Polytechnic in Uasin Gishu County.
Ni kubwa, I tell you, ni kubwa. It's a big day.
Cape Media and Cooperative Bank are on a campus wave tour to educate the youth on financial literacy by opening an account on the JKIA app.
Tuko na app yenye wanaweza tumia sasa kwa sasa kuweza kufungua account. Beleni walikuwa kuja branch pale wafungua account, but kwa sasa what you need is just a phone, ID and PIN na selfie, na uko already have a JKIA account.
According to the head youth banking at Cooperative Bank, Chris Mwasia, JKIA app accommodates anyone from the age of 18 to 35 and has a dozen of benefits for the youths.
These are students peke yake, you're 18 to 35, either you're in business, you're in school, or you're also doing your own hustles. Kama unataka kuanza biashara, wewe ni mwenye biashara uko home, we have, unaweza learn skills about doing business. Ya pili tuko na discounts kwa wale watu wanapenda eateries, kupiga luku, you can go with your app and you can actually enjoy those discounts. Ya tatu tuko na kitu inaitwa virtual cards pale. Wewe mtu wa biashara unapiga hustle yako, unataka kitu kutoka nje, unaweka pesa kwa hiyo virtual card, alafu unaweka card details online. What you just need to do ni kufund account yako pale, then you are able now to utilize all those features ndani ya pale hiyo app. You are able to get what you call the e-credit. Hiyo pesa inaweza kupatia ile siku kumekauka kidogo tunakokolea kibiashara, ama unataka kufanya kitu na hiyo pesa, yes, you are able to do that on e-credit.
And as the students were having a great time, a number of students who registered on JKIA app were eager to benefit from it.
I think the account is very beneficial as for me as a student. I can save my pocket money. When I go outside there, I can still do an investment. And when I open a business, I can still deposit my money into that account. So yeah, it has really benefited me.
Interesting. Now, moving on to some politics. Tonight, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has told leaders in the Mount Kenya region to stop politicking and serve the people. Gachagua, who spoke in reference to a section of MPs who endorsed Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki, said he will speak when the time is right. Gachagua's allies hit back at the rivals, saying the divide and rule tactic will not work, while maintaining the Deputy President is still the undisputed leader of the Mount Kenya region. Apollo Kamau with that.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and his allies rallied back the mountain from what they said were divide and rule tactics, saying the region will not allow to be divided along regional lines, the west and east of the mountain. Gachagua, while addressing his Nyeri backyard, saying he will speak when the time is right.
Uchaguzi uliisha, sasa ni wakati wa kazi. Hawa wananchi wanataka kufanyiwa kazi. Hawataki mambo ya siasa.
The Deputy President allies maintained Gachagua is still the leader of the mountain, telling the region to take note of traitors who are politicking instead of standing with the region in times of distress.
Wafanye mkutano, wafanye conference, wafanye seminar, wafanye workshop. Wasiguze nini? Wasiguze nini? Mlima iko na mwenyama haina. Anaitwa nani? Anaitwa nani?
The leaders threatened to break ranks with the larger Kenya Kwanza administration if the Deputy President is sidelined in the broad-based government.
Any elected leader ambaye analeta kinyoriro kwa Rigathi Gachagua, kuanzia hii mbunge yenu ile mrefu nilisema tazo adare, kuanzia huyo tunasema we are going to deal with them perpendicularly.
UDA Githunguri MP Gathoni Mushomba, while supporting the Deputy President, said she skipped Friday's meeting convened by Kindiki's allied MPs for undermining the Deputy President.
We were not given the mandate to come and demean the Deputy Presidency. We were not given the mandate to be going for funerals to accuse and bash each other. Even in churches, we were given the opportunity by people of Kenya to make their livelihoods better.
Gachagua is fighting a twin battle, keeping the mountain in check to consolidate his support, while looking over the shoulder in the broad-based government, which his allies say is anti-Gachagua. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Away from politics in Kenya, National Chamber of Commerce with support from the Ministry of Commerce in Hunan and the Embassy of the Republic of Kenya in Beijing established its first overseas branch in Hunan province in October 2023. Now, the move was made to bridge the gap between Kenya and China and to expand products currently exported into the Chinese market and also diversify product range through the promotion of other products where Kenya has a supply capability. Well, Kenya total exports to China grew by 37% from 2020 to 2021 due to the increased demand of Kenyan products such as oils and concentrates of base metals, petroleum oils and oils too, vegetable, textile, fibers, leather, of course, manufacturers of the base metal, crude, vegetable materials, tea and meat. Well, since 2020, KNCCI has been very proactive in supporting the Kenya International Industrial Expo in collaboration with AfriPIC Expo Kenya.
That will promote.
Today we are very happy. We officially joined with this National Chambers of Commerce and Kenya Invest officially opened our 7th Kenya International Industrial Expo and also known as 2024 Kenya Investment and Trade Fair. In this exhibition just behind us, we have total 192 exhibitors. They are from China and also other Asian countries, and also we have a Kenyan company participating in this international platform.
We are importing a lot of products from China, and as we are exporting a few products. So there is an imbalance of trade in that area, and this is our own making because we are not privy to the information. You can get information from our organization, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. You can come here and to our offices and we give you a lot of information because the trade, we are only depending on the products which are coming from
Sports News brought to you by Maybet. Bet bila stake.
Predict the outcome of 8 pre-selected games and win up to 100,000 shillings. Only at maybet.com.
Well, I think they removed that jam that I normally like. But you know what? Let's now take a look at some sporting action. And Kenya Police Football Club will host Zamalek in the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup second preliminary round tomorrow from 3 p.m. at the National Stadium in Nairobi. Now, Coach Anthony Kimani and his team qualified for the second round clash after eliminating Ethiopian Coffee Sports Club in the first round. The law enforcers have had 2 weeks to prepare for this date, with the reigning champions Police FC captain Musa Mohammed is confident that the squad will put up a good show. Regular tickets go for 200 shillings while VIP seats cost 1,000 shillings. The tickets are available from Saturday morning at Riadha House at Nyayo Stadium Police Posts.
Game ya kesho ni game kubwa na tuko na moral poa. Kama unavyoangalia kwa camp tuko sawa. Kuna wachezaji ambao walikuwa national team tumewa join na tuna focus na game ya kesho na tuna believe tutapata ushindi. People wanafaa kujua kwamba wachezaji sisi waga when we play these big games tuko excited sana because kila siku tunasikia tu Zamalek, so leo hii ama kesho tutacheza na wao, it's an excitement. So sisi wachezaji we are excited to kucheza hiyo game ya kesho. We don't know what we're gonna happen but tunajua tumeprepare vizuri, camp imekuwa poa, makoches wameprepare wachezaji poa na we are going for a win.
Every team around the world has got its strengths and its weaknesses, and Zamalek is not an exception. So we are well aware of the team that we'll be playing against. We know the quality that they have. We know the history that they have in this particular tournament. However, we also know that they've got a few weak points, and that is exactly what we'll be looking to exploit tomorrow in order to give us an advantage.
Ni vizuri pia wakitoka kutusupport